What's up, Mets fans? Orange and Blue Thing back at you. Season 7, episode 22. It is August 1st, 2023, which is trade deadline day. We are maybe a few seconds late because Julie said, hold on, I have to move my ponytail to the other side.
And I think I like it the other way better now that I'm looking at it.
You can switch it back by all means.
No, it's too much. It's fine.
If you're listening afterwards as a podcast, I don't know why you would do that. It's the worst thing to say as someone trying to promote a podcast. But we are more of a visual show, I feel. And we will not join. Anthony DiComo will join us to talk all about the trade deadline today because it seems as though we may have seen the last of Justin Verlander as a Met, which is insane to think about. At the end of last season, we didn't know Verlander was going to be on the team yet, but we also didn't know where DeGrom was going to end up. Yeah. And now both of them are in the Texas Ranger organization.
Well, Scherzer, yeah.
Scherzer and DeGrom are both over there. We don't know what's going on with Verlander. Who knows what's going to happen with Pham?
Healthy?
No. Remember he was in tears talking about surgery?
Yeah. Right.
We might never see DeGrom pitch ever again. Who knows? Which would be a sad thing, obviously.
I blacked that out.
Robertson is gone 5 days early. And I wrote something about that on Twitter the other day with some fans seem to disagree with what I was saying. I understand that a lot of times prospects or when you trade for 2 minor leaguers, it does pan out. Right. We would have had Robertson for only 2 more months of this season because after that he was going to be a free agent. So I understand the reason to move away from having Robertson on the team. My whole argument with that was, why do it on Thursday, not wait until today
some more urgency
when someone might be a little bit more desperate. Yep. And some people didn't like that I said that, but whatever.
I agree. I think that's true.
We will welcome in DiComo in a little bit. As I was saying on Instagram, I don't know if I just said that on here as well. I just say it often because Tony,
our good friend Tony,
you could say that when you're friends. So Tony will join us soon, and he'll fill us in on a whole bunch of stuff going on today. Supposedly, Pete Alonso has been on the block for the past week behind the scenes, which is what I've seen across the Twitterverse.
Again, Darren talking on this show is just Darren informing me.
Yeah. Julia shows up and I let her know what happened in the last week because, you did say you were going to go to the outing for cake on Saturday.
I know.
And I didn't see you.
I didn't want to text you to tell you I couldn't come because I felt that it was just going to be you're going to be oh, okay, whatever. But
no, it would have been I didn't expect you were going to show up anyway.
No,
so.
I truly and sincerely fully intended to. There was a work crisis. I was at work until 9 p.m. that day.
I hear you.
So I couldn't leave.
Honestly, and I swear, Kelly had to tell me, hey, fucking get out of your funk because, I understand that I'm I hate to say the leader, but I organize.
Yes. You own the 7 line.
I own the 7 line. Right. So I shouldn't be sitting there disappointed or upset that this is I fell into this as a career and I should be very happy about it. And I am. I'm very grateful. But when I'm sitting there watching what we watched on Saturday night, that was the most disgusting game I've seen in a long time.
There's a rain delay too, right?
Oh my God. I was out of the house for almost 12 hours. Actually, 14 hours. So I left at noon.
Was the tailgate fun at least?
The tailgate was fun. It did everything that I had said about why I wanted to park under the highway ended up coming true. I didn't want it to, but as I was watching the Doppler, I said, we need to park under the highway because about game time, a storm will roll through. And exactly at 6:30 or whatever it was, a storm rolled through. Yeah. So when I was setting up, some people were like, well, why don't you just park over here? It's beautiful. It's nice and sunny. I said, I'm not moving this in the middle of the tailgate.
No.
So I parked under the highway, the closest spot you can get to the entrance of that cutout fence. Right. We had a good time. A couple hundred people showed up. We got rid of so much Corona.
Oh,
I brought at least 300 beers in the cooler, that gigantic cooler, and then had backups. And then when the rain delay started, it was we ran through all of those beers.
That's awesome.
So thank you to Corona.
So was it?
Relaxed responsibly, of course.
I didn't get to watch because I was at work until 9 p.m. It was delayed before the game started, so you were able to just stay.
Yeah, we just stayed. I knew that was going to happen. But by around 6 o'clock, we got the alert on the Twitter.
That's nice.
Yeah, that said, well, first of all, we all got the news together, that Max Scherzer was gone, and then we got the alert that okay, and by the way, you're gonna have to sit in the parking lot an extra hour and a half, which you didn't mind doing.
Yeah.
But when I left my house at 12:15 p.m. to come here, get the truck, load up, get over there, whatever, get ice, do the whole 9, we were set up before 2 or maybe 2:30. And then I didn't get back at home till after 1:30 and then, get to bed at 2 a.m., which there are worse things to do.
Yes.
Shout out to first responders and nurses and everyone else who has crazy schedules.
You're allowed to just say that sucked.
Well, yeah, it
sucked. It did.
And as I was walking out of the ballpark, I was saying that. And Kelly's like, maybe pump the brakes a little bit on talking about how much this sucks. But I understand. I get it. So anyway, this Saturday, we will be at Pickles. And I'm telling you, if you've never been to Baltimore before, there's one street of bars, basically. Pickles is the biggest and best one, but none of them are gigantic. They're not like the size of K Corner or whatever.
Yeah.
It's not gigantic, but they do have an outdoor setting as well. They put up barricades and they have a fun time. So we worked it out with Pickles, Tom at Pickles. They don't need to do this because the Orioles are good.
Yeah.
The Orioles are good.
Fans will be there.
They don't need to kind of welcome us in and give us a beer special, but they did. Every single 16-ounce beer that they sell will be $4, which is like
that's
half
nuts.
price compared to like what you're going to pay inside.
Yeah.
Actually, more than half price.
Yeah.
Here's probably $12 for a 16-ounce.
That's
so
crazy.
Come on down to Pickles. I'm telling our fans, Mets fans, to show up by around like 3:00. I know that's early, but 3:15, 3:30. Don't show up at like 6 thinking you're going to get in because by then they're going to probably be at capacity. But I know that sometimes you glance over things on the group chat.
Yes.
Unless when you want to write your 10-paragraph.
I haven't done one of those in a while. I haven't had the time.
Tara is the heavy hitter of the day.
I meant to ask what this means. I saw it, but I saw it at like 4 a.m. and I know you hate when I text at 4 a.m.
So you know that by now, from when we give out like first pitches and Bennett and Sam opening day. I don't do the stuff, typically, but I did in 2015. So in 15, they gave us the same award, heavy hitter award, which is when you sell over X amount of tickets, you're invited on the field before the game as like
remember that.
Thank you.
Yes, I remember that.
So I was like, I'll do it.
Yeah.
So, but now I haven't done something since, but in 15 I did. So you show up. She's going to leave the pregame at 6:15. I don't know how many $4 beers she's going to have before then, but good thing is she doesn't have to throw a pitch and she doesn't have to speak or do anything.
So have as
I'm not
many
saying
as
Tara can't control herself, but you know what I mean? Like some people will be
you
like,
don't need to control yourself.
No, but some people like, I don't want to have to do something.
You'll be too nervous and not be able to focus. Yeah.
So I hit Tara up and I was like, no pressure if you don't want to do this because you're going to have to leave the pregame like 15 minutes early.
Right. 15 minutes.
But the thing with this is you can't bring someone with you. So she's going to go behind home plate, meet up with Cole, who works for the Orioles. Thank you for the honor. And then she'll be on the field before the game. Right before first pitch, they'll announce today's heavy hitter is, there might be more than one, but so-and-so from this organization and Tara Rincon from the 7-Line Army. And they said you cannot wear other teams' jerseys or hats. And I wrote back to Cole and I'm like, well, she's not going to wear a jersey or hat, but she will have on the event shirt, which I did in 15, and I included the photo of me wearing the shirt in 15. And he's like, oh, okay, good enough.
Yeah. Okay.
So
great.
That's the story. So shout out to Tara, and she will be doing the honors for us right before
I love that.
first pitch on
Very
Saturday.
Deserving.
So definitely try to get in there early to not only be in your seats before first pitch and national anthem, but to also cheer Tara on. So if you have not picked up tickets yet for this weekend, and you want to join us, go to the7line.com, scroll to the bottom, click the button that says forum, and that's where we urge fans that can or can't make the game. Sorry, not can. If they can't make the game, I tell them to put their tickets there. So if you're looking for tickets, go there. If you're looking to sell tickets, something came up, you got an emergency and you can't make it, put your tickets there. Please don't put them on sites like TickPick. Even though we love TickPick, we don't want our seats there. Our seats there only because what I would love if TickPick could do this.
Yeah.
If they can make a tab that says the 7-Line Army.
Yeah.
So people can share and sell tickets that way would be great.
Why
Maybe we got to call them.
Maybe Kyle,
we
have an idea.
Because the only reason we don't like third-party sites is when you put them up, you buy those seats, you don't know what you're getting into. Maybe you
need like a special password.
Well, you know that like the hot event button they put on things. Maybe they could put a little button that says or tag that says the 7-Line Army.
Right.
I don't know. We got to talk to Kyle.
Interesting.
So for the time being, if you need tickets to anything else that you could possibly think of, we strongly suggest our friends at TickPick. No hidden fees, more savings with over $100 million in customer savings and counting. We guarantee the best prices, or they guarantee the best prices, but we can back that because we use TickPick. So if you're looking to see Snoop Dogg, who's trending, or Post Malone or Beyonce, I think Beyonce had a show last Saturday.
Beyonce was here this weekend. Yeah.
I wonder if that was affected by the rain? Because the rain came through quickly, and it was at MetLife.
Yeah. It was a little wild.
But for our New York Mets, all right, we do this weekly. I'm almost nervous to know what the price would be for. I guess it would be when they come back.
When's the next home game?
Because tonight they're in Kansas City. I liked it last week when it was a Subway Series. Like, it is.
I had no idea. I had no idea the Subway Series.
So tonight they're in KC, and then this weekend they're in Baltimore, and then they come home next week. I believe. I don't know who they're playing, but let's hit this.
What day of the week is it?
It's probably going to be like Tuesday or Monday. Okay. So
$5
against the Cubs. August 7th against the Cubs, $4. That's a shame.
I was too high. I was gonna say 4.
So you could go to the Cubs series next week for $13 for all 3 games.
Except you're gonna pay, what is it, like $120 in parking?
Well, no, just ride a bicycle or walk.
Ride your bike on the Grand Central and go to Citi Field.
Yes, so that's sad. But you can go to all 3 games next week, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday on TickPick for $13, no fees, which is incredible and crazy and sad all at the same time. But speaking of the Cubs, I saw Marcus Stroman was trending.
I saw his name in a tweet and I scrolled
and I'm
right
like,
past
well, what
it.
is this about? Like, why is he, maybe he got traded, whatever. I clicked it. He's given up. Which is last night he only went like 3 innings or so.
He was having a good year, I thought.
He did. He had a couple strong outings back to back, but this isn't like a hate on Marcus Stroman. It's just crazy how
feel free.
The stats can change in the blink. So Marcus Stroman has allowed 30 earned runs in his last 30 innings. That's great. Like he had a quick dive. Yeah, he had like a strong start, back-to-back starts.
Did he not make the All-Star team? He was close to making the All-Star
team. I think he actually did and declined.
Yeah.
He said, I don't know why, but he declined. And that's the story. Speaking of All-Star, look, we're all over the map, but it's working out. Remember I was missing one jersey?
Yes.
I got it. So shout out to Jesse Burke. He found one on eBay and hit me up and he said, hey, I know you're missing the DeGrom jersey from 15 and it was my size and everything.
Wow.
So I got it. Now I'm complete. The only one I'm not missing any, but when I started in 13, I have every year's.
Yeah.
There was no All-Star game in 2020. So that's the story. So yeah, we'll talk to DiComo in a little bit. I told him 110 and he's late.
He's
so
tardy.
Hopefully,
Tony.
Don't be tardy to the party. That's a song from I think it's a housewife. Unfortunately, I know that. Yeah, don't be tardy to. I don't know. Kelly had on a housewife last night, and I went to bed a little early. And normally I stay downstairs and come up later, but I was a little tired from all my cold plunges. And I was like, all right, I'll get in bed. And then these women were sitting around talking at a table about like a never have I ever, but it was all sexual.
Well, that's usually how never have I ever.
But like I was listening to this and I'm like, who would, even if one of them, if the 2 of them were fake and one was real, they all were pretty like wild to say, not only out loud, but on television.
Yeah. Well, that's how you get ratings.
Yeah, I guess. And who knows if it's even true. I hate those shows.
Yeah.
I'm sending Tony a quick text here on the Twitter.
Just say tardy Tony. Nothing else.
We're ready for you because we're running out of things to talk about.
I have some thoughts on everything that's happened, but I kind of want to save them until he's on because I'd rather hear his opinion than ours.
Well, you know what? We were talking about TickPick and we somehow forgot to tell them the promo code.
Oh my gosh! Oh, and there's
Tony. We'll
Tardy Tony.
Tardy Tony. We'll be we're coming up with a new nickname for you. Just sit tight 1 second, Tony. TickPick. Use the code OABT, $10 off any order over $99 in the app for a first-time user. If for some reason you've already used that, you could just use a different email address or have your friend or your mom or your sister or your brother purchase the tickets for you and just make sure they use that code so you can get hooked up with a little bit of a discount.
There he is.
So speaking of discounts, do you think the Mets will be making any discounts on any players today, Mr. Tony DiComo from MLB.com?
First off, hold on, Judgy Julia. I was a minute early. I was told 1:15. I logged on at 1:14.
Darren,
let me check.
Darren said that he told you 1:10.
Oh,
so
oh my God, you're right.
I took back my tardy Tony, and I give you my dumb Darren.
Well, guess what, Tony? I don't know how much time you have, but let me just tell you.
You just shamed him for like a full minute.
I know, it's my fault. But
that's unbelievable.
Julia.
And you were on board with it, so let's cool the jets here.
I thought he said 1:10.
Our show goes live at 1 p.m. each week, right? And I'm in here ready. I make the little notes. I do the tweets and stuff. Julia will walk in at 12:59, like with like 0 seconds to spare before I hit the button.
Is that 1 p.m.? No, my butt's in the chair. 1 p.m. I'm on time.
It's pretty easy. You click a button, you're on. It's not that.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Deal.
So speaking of times, the deadline is what, 6 o'clock today?
Yes.
So how active between now and then do you think the Mets will be?
They're going to be pretty active. I mean, they're going to be in a ton of talks. Tommy Pham is as good as gone. He's an impending free agent. I think the Mets are going to talk real seriously about, and probably already have, about Brooks Raley, maybe Adam Ottavino, some of these other guys who may or may not be part of the 2024 plans. The big thing is Justin Verlander for a million reasons. Obviously, because of who he is. But for me, it's almost more what it signals for the future of this franchise. If you keep Justin Verlander before the deadline, I think you can make a pretty compelling case that the Mets can be competitive and can go for it in 2024. If you trade him, regardless of what you get in return, they're probably not going to be super competitive in 2024. And I do feel like Billy Epler greased the wheels for that the other day when he said, well, our preseason odds to make the playoffs, to win the World Series next year might not be as high as they are this year. So there's two tracks the Mets can go down. I'm not particularly sure which is the right one, but a lot of this in my mind depends upon whether they do in fact trade Verlander today.
So a few weeks ago when Steve Cohen had his press conference with you guys, and obviously it was streamed live and a lot of fans were tuned in, he basically said this is on the players. He said if the players basically can turn this around, then the fate is kind of in their hands. So the other day, when I know that it seems juicier when certain things are put on Twitter and think that quotes might be chopped, but I know that Scherzer did address that, he was partially to blame with, not, maybe he didn't put in those words, but he was underperforming on his part, but then also questioned why the Mets would trade the closer, and he had to have a talk with upper management basically. So I feel like, to me, that was saying, get rid of me, basically. I don't really know how that really came across to you guys or other fans, but when he basically said, I want to know what the direction of this team is, when the reason why we're kind of in the position we're in is because guys like him were underperforming, right. It kind of just didn't seem to make a whole lot of sense to me.
Well, I think also you have the cause and effect of he obviously went and had that conversation, and then literally hours later, he gets traded. So clearly he heard something that he didn't love. And almost kind of more damning is not the word, but indicative of what's going on. Justin Verlander, who has been very consistent throughout the past couple of months in saying, this hasn't been the year that we've wanted, but I didn't sign a one-year deal. I'm in this for longer than just 2023. Well, he also kind of said, well, I need to talk to management after my last start. And lo and behold, all of a sudden after that, these trade rumors start picking up a ton of steam. So I do think there is a track that the Mets are looking at where what Billy Epler said the other day is absolutely true. This team does not want to go into a multi-year rebuild where you're talking about like what the Orioles did or what the Astros did last decade, where you're just bad for 4 to 5 years. And then once your prospects mature, you're good again. I don't think that's the plan by any stretch of the imagination, but there is a world in which the Mets say, okay, we're going to punt on 2024 because we just don't have the horses to do it, to go out and spend a ton in free agency. You're going to have to buy up 3 to 4 big name starting pitchers. Those guys are going to require 5, 6, 7 year deals that could hamstring your franchise for the better part of a decade. But I think there's a case to be made where you say, okay, let's punt 2024. We don't have Scherzer. We don't have Verlander. Maybe we get crazy and trade Pete Alonso. I know people don't want to hear it, but he is going to be a free agent after next year. And there's a pretty good chance that perhaps the Mets won't have him back. So I think you can say that. And then by 2025, all of these prospects are pretty mature. They're ready to go. You still have Lindor, presumably in his prime. You still have Brandon Nimmo, presumably in his prime. Brett Beatty, Francisco Alvarez, all these guys. And you can make a pretty compelling case that this could be a very, very good team in 2025 and beyond. So I do think that's one track. I'm not sure the Mets have committed to it, and I don't think they have to commit to it until or unless they trade Justin Verlander, but that is a possibility.
So you brought up Lindor, and I'm sure that some of this seems to basically be a little bit of lip service, because even fans might say until they're mathematically out, they're not really out. Right. So even after the trades with Robertson and Canha, and who knows what's going to happen today. I think it was maybe yesterday or even 2 days ago, actually. Lindor basically said, we're still going to try to push for the playoffs. Believe it or not, I got an email from a fan yesterday that said that we need to start a campaign for you got to believe 2023. They want me to make shirts and signs and said it's not over yet. And I said, listen, I wrote back, the only thing that we are definitely believing in right now is tailgating because, I don't think, stranger things have happened.
Of course.
If all these guys play, all the guys that are left can play up to their potential and be NL Player of the Month like Pete Alonso just was, and see what happens, then stranger things have happened. But for the time being, no t-shirts will be made. No, you got to believe 2023 shirts will be made. But do you think that the players that are still there really believe that they have something left to really go for it? Or do you think that that's going to really change after 6 o'clock today?
What was interesting to me was after the Robertson trade, there was a sense in the clubhouse that a lot of guys were surprised by it. But then when they found out that David Robertson had been traded, I think a bunch of guys thought that it was a buy. They were going to get back something that was going to help them in 2023. Whereas obviously the front office was looking at this very differently. And I think finally, once the Mets traded Scherzer over the weekends, it clicked for guys that oh, damn, we're selling off. This is not what the team expected. And I think that's kind of common around baseball. You get these players who have their nose down. Everybody thinks they can make a run. Even the bad teams, there's a lot of players on those teams who think they can make a run. And until kind of overwhelming evidence exists that it's not going to happen, they're going to believe it. So I think Scherzer was kind of the straw that broke the camel's back for a lot of these guys. Can they be competitive for the next 2 months? Probably not. I just don't think they have the starting pitching horses to do it. The lineup's still good. Maybe you find some interesting pieces in the bullpen that can help you, like a Hartwig steps up and is that guy for a couple months. But it's really hard to do it when you're not running out of quality starting pitcher every night, and there's very little evidence that the Mets are going to do that. But that doesn't mean that there's not things to watch. Actually, Billy Epler was asked this the other day, and he said, I'm very interested to see what happens with Brett Beatty over the final 2 months of the season. How does Francisco Alvarez look? These guys are, playing full seasons, essentially for Alvarez, a full season in the big leagues for the first time in his career. How does Mark Vientos look if he starts playing every day? Does Ronnie Mauricio get a call up? Mike Vassell, some of these other prospects. So just because you're probably not going to make a run doesn't mean there's not intrigue. There's not reason to watch. There's not reason to go to the games. I understand fully that it's not what fans signed up for at the start of 2023, but there are still things that I certainly will be pretty interested to watch.
It's sad, man.
You get paid to watch, Tony.
I do get paid to watch, but that doesn't mean I don't have an interest in it too. You watch the team every day, you become invested in it. Not in the way that a fan is, or a super fan like you, Julia, but it is.
It's taking a hit
of intrigue.
Well, it's crazy, man. Because we had you last on in March, I think. It was still
oh my God, what a different conversation.
We were talking about the World Baseball Classic and so on and so forth, and it's who would have thought that this many months later, August 1st, that we're in the position, I say we, like I'm on the team.
We are on the team.
The Mets are in the position they're in. It's unbelievable.
I know.
That
what's funny, Darren, is if you had told me before the year that this would happen, that the Mets would be in a position where they're selling off pieces prior to the deadline, I would have said, okay, Verlander, Scherzer, maybe those guys got hurt. Maybe there was a major injury to Pete Alonso, to Francisco Lindor. The Mets have had a couple things. Obviously, Edwin Diaz, Verlander missing a month. They've actually been remarkably healthy. If you look around the league, and I haven't done a deep dive into this, but I would imagine the Mets have been one of the healthier teams in baseball. So it's just been underperformance kind of across the board. And that's what's so surprising in my eyes. Not just that one or two guys are having bad years, but with the exception of Brandon Nimmo, a couple other guys on the roster, pretty much everyone's having a down year, and that's kind of crazy to predict.
And that's where I struggle with at this point. I know everything you're saying is very logical, and that you're trading away pieces, get pieces back to hopefully be competitive in 2024 and beyond, whatever. But the more I watch this godforsaken team, the more I realize how much of a game of fucking luck baseball is, and that you really just need everyone to click at the same time for months at a time, and how rare that is, that it's okay, sure, we'll make all these moves and hopefully everything will pan out. And it's just so
well, and that's why, Julia, in my eyes, if you want to criticize this Mets organization for anything that has happened in the past 5 years, the most damning thing that happened was last year at the trade deadline, not pushing your chips in, because that was a team that was clicking. You were having career years from a ton of guys. They were on a 100 win pace for basically the entire summer. They wound up winning 101. Yes, there were some warning signs, but I think if you had really made a push at the deadline, gone in, would you have affected your future chances to win the World Series in 2024, 2025? Yeah, but that's what good teams do. And who wins the World Series without really making a push at the deadline these days? It's pretty rare. It's not the type of thing that happens. So where criticism is due, I think it was last year at the deadline, that strategy, basically doing nothing, standing pat for the most part, that really, if you had a do-over, I think that's the one. I first guessed it at the time. I'm still second guessing it now a year later.
Yep. I completely agree. And I want to come out and say, as irrational as it might sound, I don't care about a dynasty. Give me one. Go all in 1 year, make an effort, and give me one, and I will shut up for the next 20 years. I don't need a dynasty. Just give me one.
Absolutely will not shut up for the next 20 years.
Of course not, Tony. I can't. It's so frustrating. A dynasty takes luck. Like, it's not just about how good the players have. It's, will they stay healthy? Will they play up to par every single year? All of them. Will they all do that? Will you have competent people in charge who will utilize them correctly? I completely agree. And people said, oh my God, everybody has to let the trade deadline go. It is what it is. This is a great team. But like, how is that not? I completely agree. It's the most frustrating thing that's happened the past 5 years. You have lightning in a bottle and you're just like, okay, let's hope it doesn't burn out by October.
Plus it's fun. I mean, look at 2015. That team didn't really deserve for a lot of the summer the deadline push that they got. But, they got lucky in that Yoenis Cespedes was the guy that they wound up trading for at the deadline. And obviously all of those other bit parts that they got wound up playing big roles down the stretch. And how fun was that? It was exciting to be at the ballpark every day. There's a different vibe when you feel like that, that ownership in the front office are like, we're all in on this team. It might be irrational to be trading what we're trading to get these guys, but this is what we're doing because we're pushing to win a championship. And we're not thinking about the 3 to 5 to 10 year window. We're thinking about right now. You're going to see teams do that today. Maybe some teams do it with Justin Verlander as the piece. It's fun when that happens. That's one of the most fun.
Completely agree.
Well, it's we were talking about ownership, and there's no way in hell the previous ownership would have ever eaten money to get rid of Max Scherzer.
No.
So if there's one thing to that's not something to hang your hat on, but to be confident on is that the Mets are going to. Steve said it. Yeah. The money's already spent.
I will say this on record. I am very happy that everything that we're going through as a franchise is with Steve Cohen in charge and not the Bulldogs. I mean, I can still say, as critical as you can be of other things, we would be in a much worse position with somebody else in charge.
Well, and as recently as last week, people were asking, are they going to trade Max Scherzer? Are they going to trade Justin Verlander? And my response was typically like, maybe they decide to trade Verlander. I don't think they're going to be able to find a taker for Scherzer. So, the David Robertson trade was what it was. The Mark Canha trade was what it was. We'll see what happens today with Tommy Pham and some other guys. But the Scherzer deal, to pay that money and essentially buy a unanimously considered top 50 prospect in baseball, not to mention the brother of Ronald Acuna Jr., which is a nice little storyline. Like that to me was a very good trade, no matter what happens. Because now, yes, you're paying money for it, but you don't have to worry about what happens with Max Scherzer, who's had so much trouble staying healthy, who's been in obvious decline over the past, not just this year, but 2-3 years. To get a guy of Acuna's caliber for that was a really good deal in my opinion.
Completely agree.
So if I had to ask you, gun to your head, yes or no, is Ohtani on the Mets next year? Yes or no?
Say put the gun down, Darren.
All right, no gun.
We have enough problems.
Let's do this in peace. Yeah. My gut says no, just because everything I've heard around the industry is that he so much prefers the West Coast. I think obviously those West Coast teams, whether it's the Dodgers or even going back to the Angels, might be aggressive on him. That being said, there is a world in which the Mets just put so much in the middle for this guy. Who knows what we're even talking about? 600 million, 700 million, just blow other teams away where he has to consider it and effectively can't say no. I think people and fans want to assume that the Mets are going to do that. There's definitely an argument that spending $600 million plus for Shohei Ohtani, as great as he is, possibly the greatest baseball player ever to walk the face of the earth, might be stupid because you're paying for what he's already done and you don't know that he's going to continue to be this player. He probably won't continue to be this player into his 30s as he gets on eventually into his mid 30s. So I'm not sure the Mets are going to go there, especially if they go the strategy today where they essentially are punting on 2024, because then you're losing a prime year in which Ohtani could make you a World Series contender. So for all those reasons, gun to my head, Darren, very violent, but I'll deal with it. I'm going to say no. But again, we're in Steve Cohen's world with this Mets team. Nothing really surprises me. And if the Mets land Shohei Ohtani, I wouldn't be remotely surprised.
$700 million is such an insane price tag to think about.
It's so insane that like if he really prefers the West Coast and the West Coast is offering him $500 million, what difference is $200 million at that point? But, I don't know.
And it depends on the player. And Shohei Ohtani, I don't know him. He strikes me as the type of guy in which money is not necessarily the absolute motivating factor.
Right.
I think lifestyle is huge for this guy. I think the idea of winning a championship is huge for this guy. And maybe he sees what's going on with this Mets deadline and says, maybe that's not the team for me. We'll see. You're going to see a ton more reporting on this over the coming months and obviously into the offseason. But I think for some people, the difference between 500 and 700 million is huge because they want that reputationally. They want to get every single dollar. Yeah. I think for other people, it's like, okay, I could never spend $500 million in 1,000 lifetimes. So what am I going to do? Why do I care about getting 700 million? We'll see which camp Ohtani ultimately falls into.
I just don't want to be in the camp of Pete Alonso not being on the Mets tomorrow. So hopefully that does not come down before now and 6 o'clock. It is now 1:30.
I think that'll be just
I can't
counterproductive
imagine
to the morale of the fan base.
Well, no, that just the Mets the Mets branding in general is so, not that they have that much in stone with Pete Alonso, but the amount of backing they've done with the polar bear and everything.
But not only that, I can't recall a player, maybe since David Wright, who was as publicly all in about being a Met.
I can't imagine Pete being in anyone else's uniform ever. So hopefully that doesn't happen, but certainly not by tomorrow. So,
and that's where you get a window into how organizations think, right? Yeah. We don't have a ton of data on Steve Cohen and how he operates. Is it important to him to pay up for a player that is that beloved by the franchise, by the organization? Or does he take the more cold and calculating look, which I'm sure he does all the time in his business life, and say, look, this guy's got 1 year left after this one under team control. He's probably going to get $200 million plus in free agency. Do we want to pay that for a first baseman when we have so many other holes? If he's going to be gone anyway, does it make sense to trade him now and he's got 1.5 years of team control and we could get just a ransom for him? Yeah. I doubt the Mets are going to ultimately go down that path, but we'll see if that's the type of thinking that that becomes dominant in this front office when you have to make these sorts of hard decisions.
I'd hate it so much.
All right, Tony, we know you have an extremely busy day ahead of you. And obviously, if people are watching this and they don't follow you by now, they definitely should be, especially on days like today. Is today crazier than is it? The trade deadline typically crazier than the day before the lockout? Remember like how nuts that day was for you guys?
It was pretty similar. That was a deadline style day. I will say a day like this is better than a typical, December day in the off season because you don't know if something could come down that day or in a week or in 2 weeks. Whereas it's going to happen today. Like Tommy Pham is going to get traded today. Yeah. And we just don't know when it's yet.
Yeah, sorry to keep. You're down in Kansas City?
I am, yes.
Phenomenal molding in that hotel room, by the way. I'm checking out.
I appreciate that. Yeah, it's nicely renovated.
All right, man. So enjoy the rest of the season. October 1st is the final home game of the year at Citi Field. We all don't think they're playing past that day, but the Mets are going to be playing in October this year. Maybe stick around after the game. We're going to try to figure something out to maybe get together and do something if you want to swing by.
Will we see you next week? When is the
next Thursday. You're going to be at Citi Field on the FDNY NYPD night, or are you taking the night off?
I think I got to look at my calendar. I forget if I'm going to be there or not, but my guy David Wright's going to be there, right?
So yeah, for sure. We got the book over here. So all right, man. So be good, and we'll be sure to watch you all day on the Twitter.
Thanks for being so on time.
All right, Dumb Darren and Judgy Julia, have a good one.
It wasn't me. It was Dumb Darren.
Have a good one. Love it. We were talking about the ballpark, and it's kind of like depressing to be there now because of the state of the team. I took a photo of the parking lot on Saturday at like 5:30 on a Saturday. Mm-hmm. And usually, our group, besides our group, other fans are showing up and whatever. The parking lot was completely empty. Nobody was there. and I don't want to throw shade on the ownership because clearly they have other things going on, but you almost never see the lights off in the owner's suite behind the plate. They're always like entertaining someone. Right. It's got to be almost embarrassing for them too. You know, like I get it. It is a business. And like Anthony or Tony was just saying, you know, we don't really know what it's like behind closed doors of Steve Cohen and his business life, but it's tough to pretend everything is fun and groovy when the team is playing how they are, you know.
I feel like we go through such a roller coaster with the way we talk about, I don't know if we talk about Steve Cohen. I mean, I think we're both in agreement that we love having Steve Cohen and Alex, and they're great. And, you know, I wouldn't really want anybody else leading the team. And while, you know, they've maybe had some faults here or there, who hasn't? They're human. That's fine. But I feel like we just go through cycles on this show of like, oh, it's just a, you know, it's a tough time and Steve Cohen's in a hot spot or whatever. And then there's other times where we're like, Steve Cohen is the fucking man. Like it's just so like 0 to 100.
Well, it's how fans of any team are. They're not very rational. They want to win. And almost kind of like turn a blind eye to certain things that, you know, whether it's a player in their personal life or someone that you might not like because they said XYZ or whatever. But when they put the uniform on and they win and they're helping your team, like I said,
our team,
you know, they sometimes look the other way, but you know, it is what it is. I'm going to read some comments to you right now on Twitter, and I want you to let me know what these comments could be about, because I used to read comments like this all the time.
Oh God.
This process was frustrating and very disappointing. Same. Item was customized, had all my info and went to click the payment and the site went down. How are they sold out if no one was able to get through? Sold out? I don't think so. I was on as soon as it went live, put my CC through 3 times. It's annoying. There was another one that said, had it sold out. Sure. You sold them to your friends.
Taylor Swift tickets.
There's no way they sold out when no one was able to purchase them on your website because it crashed. This experience soured me so much. My renewal for the season tickets is in question. That is drastic.
Oh my God.
So when
was this the Santa hat or the apple hat?
This has nothing to do with the 7 line.
Oh,
but
great.
It sounds like
I was gonna say this could so be the 7 line.
Back when we used to sell our home game tickets on our website, and we only have 859 of them, and we would put opening day up, and by let's say we did 10 a.m. 10:01, it was sold out. People were furious. See these emails. The Mets put up bricks today.
Oh,
the Brick Foundation, whatever, because we're just talking about the Cohens. Shout out to Alex, who does an incredible job with the Amazing Mets Foundation.
Completely.
I don't know how many they had available, but they sold out. So it is what it is. They sold out. You know that they actually did go up for sale because you'll see all the new ones up at the stadium next year. Bradley Solomon and Lizzie both said to me, hey, do you think there's any kind of way we can get a pre-sale for members? And I said, they're not going to sell out. There's so much space. If they have to, they'll extend it down Seaver Way if they have to. Mets are not going to turn money away. You'll get your brick. I guess I was wrong.
That's crazy.
So
it's just a brick.
I have a brick here somewhere.
I have. My family has one too. Mine's actually in a prime spot. It's right in front of in front of the rotunda.
Shu got it for me.
Oh,
thanks, buddy. Shu.
Sweet.
I still don't know where it is though. I've seen because you got to replicate.
You haven't seen it?
I don't know where it is.
You're lying. All this time you've never found it. Mine's right.
Not that I don't appreciate the wonderful gift, but
you gotta go find it.
I got mine in 2014. It's a little dusty on the top.
We got ours when the stadium opened. It's been there since the beginning. So
sorry.
Well, no, but that's why it's in such a good spot. I think it's right in front. A little. If you're standing in front of the rotunda, it's to your right.
I think when he purchased it, he had a map, or maybe he gave me a map to say where it is. I don't know where it is.
Well, find out. I'm sure you could ask somebody. When bricks were made in 2014, where were they put?
Oh.
And then just look in that area.
Yeah, there's got to be some kind of hologram or something on there. I don't know, but it's there. You can't see it on camera, but it is below this Shea Stadium sign that I got.
Dusty.
Yeah, whatever. I mean,
gotta get a Swiffer in here.
It's weathered. What do they call it? It's seasoned. It's good. So
speaking of seasoned, how's your grass?
Excellent. There was like some kind of like bugs forming.
Gross.
So we moved it outside. It's thriving. Wait till you go see it. Go out the front when you leave.
It's almost as if that's where grass is supposed to be.
Yeah, well, yeah, it should be outside, but you never didn't want that beautiful gift. That's your fault, not ours. So anyway, if I said the name Paul Rubens, would you know who that is?
No.
It's so crazy. The generational guy. Yeah, that's Pee Wee. So
no, I know Pee-wee. I don't know the actor's name.
Is the character he created, but Paul Rubens is the actor that played the character. He passed away yesterday.
May he rest in peace.
And I was looking at, different scenes from. I bet you never even saw Pee-wee's Big Adventure, the movie.
I did when I was little. I saw bits and pieces.
It came out in '85, so you weren't even born yet.
I saw bits and pieces. No, I didn't see it in theaters, but I
watched it again recently.
It creeped me out. I won't lie.
We ever talked about this. I don't do drugs, but I went to Blue Point.
Have we ever talked about how Darren doesn't do drugs? Fact checkers, let us know.
It's weird. There's always and some people say this, but they're lying. But I'm telling the God's honest truth. I bartended for many years, and a lot of people I worked with would do drugs to stay awake late at night. We had to work till 4 a.m. whatever. I never did.
I don't either. And I've taken one edible in my life, and that is it. I've never smoked marijuana. Nothing.
Well, I've smoked weed, but I never did it religiously, right?
Yeah.
So anyway, that wasn't the drug of choice if you were bartending till 4 a.m. But a lot of people around me would, and I would just be like, oh, they're just very drunk. I was so oblivious, right? But we're at the Blue Point Cascale Festival last year. I guess it was November-ish, and now it's legal weed everywhere. You're just allowed. Mm-hmm. It's you can do whatever you want these days. And I bought a bag of gummies.
Nice.
And I'd have them every once in a while. And I don't even know where I'm going with this, but how did we get here?
You don't do drugs.
What do they say? What do they call that? Some kind of dream?
Fever dream?
Yeah. Why do I bring up having drugs?
Darren has never done drugs.
How did that get here?
His brick was dusty.
I bought a bag of gummies. I stopped eating them.
Someone rewind the show.
Yeah, what did I say before that?
That's how we got here.
Can you believe that we had a reputable MLB.com beat reporter on the show today?
On the trade deadline day, he took his time to talk to us.
And now I'm talking about buying gummies. Anyway, I didn't even finish the bag.
Oh,
I'd have a half of a half. I couldn't do it on smoke, right?
All right.
I had to quit.
Uh-huh.
I would take them. It was only on Wednesdays. I would take a half of it. I don't know. I just picked.
What was so hard about Wednesdays?
I decided I was only going to do once a week.
Okay.
It was my thing in the winter, right?
Hump day. Great day.
And then Kelly would go to sleep. It would kick in. I'd be watching TV. Oh, that's how I got here. The last time I watched Pee-wee's Big Adventure.
You're memorializing this
was
poor
the
man.
night that I had my first gummy.
Oh, God. Okay, great.
That's it.
Full circle moment.
But I had to quit.
I
had to quit. I would stand in the pantry and eat for an hour. What's that? I didn't know you can get the munchies from gummies.
Well, I don't know how.
So I would just stand there.
Specifically.
I'll have pretzels now. I'll have this now. I'll do this. I would take a rice cake and make my own peanut butter and jellies on the rice cake, which are incredible. I ate too much. So I had to quit the gummies. But anyway, R.I.P. to Pee-wee Herman. That's how we got here.
It's not funny. It's not funny that he died.
No, of course not.
It's funny that's where.
But now I'll never forget having my first gummy.
Of course.
Pee-wee Herman.
Great.
Anyway, so.
Where were you when you had your first gummy? Let us know.
Let us know. You guys do. Robert wants to know if I'm on drugs. Now.
Remember when we started the show this season and the club lighting? Every show we did, it was as if we were on drugs.
Yeah. Well, you know what my drug is now
halfway through the season.
Is cold plunging. So today is day 17 of the last 18 days of the plunge.
All right.
You have to do 3 minutes is the minimum. Yesterday, I ditched the timer and I
up to your neck,
all the way into your neck.
Okay.
You don't have to though. A lot of people you watch on videos online. Now that we talk about it a lot, I get the Instagram thing. Hey, buy it for your house.
Yeah.
They sit like this and only go up to their chest. They leave their arms out.
Lame.
Cheating. So here I go up to the neck. Some people dunk at the end just to get the last effect of going in. I haven't done that yet. But day 17 of 18, tomorrow's 19, my 18th, but the actual challenge ends on Thursday. I'm not eligible because I missed a day.
Womp womp.
But he's putting ice in with the cold plunge. The cold plunge is already a circulating hot tub, but cold, where it constantly filters so people can go into it and it's not gross. And there's 2 tubes, so it's like a freezer, and it brings the water in and out, so the water is constantly staying cold. But it's gonna be 32 on Thursday, so that should be interesting.
At what point is that not safe?
You can't do it for more than hypothermia will kick in after 10 minutes or so.
Yeah.
So anyway, yesterday I got rid of the timer because I'm not in it anymore, so it doesn't sit there and time me.
Don't hit 10 minutes.
So I screenshot. There's no service in there. I screenshot Stairway to Heaven, which is exactly 8 minutes, and pressed play and got in and did my 8 minutes and made it. I got through.
That 8 minutes is dicey.
It's crazy.
If you're saying 10 minutes of the
by
hypothermia
6,
hit,
I was
that song buffers because there's bad internet. You're screwed.
No, that's why I did screenshot.
Okay.
And now it's
screen recorded
it's saved as a video on my phone, right? So I'm sitting there, and at 6 minutes, I knew what the song was. I'm like, all right, I only got 2 minutes left. I could do it. Finish the 8 minutes. Boom, done. Last night, I'm like, all right, what's today's song going to be? Today was going to be Metallica 1. I already did it today, 10 a.m. That's 7 minutes and 30 seconds. What I didn't realize was when I screenshot the screen, I had it on like full volume. And that song, you probably don't know it. It starts off pretty quiet and then it kicks in. It's pretty heavy. The owner of the place I felt so like I was being so rude because I don't like making anyone else's job harder. I don't like people that walk around on like speakerphone and this and that. It's really not my thing, right? If you do that, you're kind of inconsiderate.
Yeah.
So I'm in there and it's a peaceful place. People are getting like massages and they're in saunas and doing
and there's you in a tub.
Some people in the cold plunge, they take it so serious because they're really trying to fight through and get through, right?
Yeah.
I close the door, I turn on Metallica 1, which at like the 2-minute mark gets a little heavy. And I'm in there and I'm like, fuck, this is pretty loud. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, oh man, I don't really want to.
You don't want to get out and cheat.
I didn't want to like go in and turn it off. So the door knocks and the owner puts his hand in and he's like, and I'm like, I can't. I was like, I didn't realize I'm already in here. Like, I'm sorry. Like, he came over and turned it off thinking he was lowering it. And then I was just laying in there with no timer.
Oh no.
So I ended up still doing over 6 minutes today, but tomorrow I'm going to do it again and I'm going to wear my Beats. And
what is the exact moment of hypothermia?
I don't know. We'd have to look that up.
There's a Taylor Swift song. It's 10 minutes and 13 seconds.
I don't know if I could do that, but
I challenge you to try. It's a great song. Listen to the lyrics.
Okay, I will.
All too well.
Well,
10 minutes.
Is it like gonna get me like fired up though? Because like I like.
No, it's gonna give you depression.
Oh, I don't want that then. So my goal, I screenshotted. I have a couple different songs. I was talking to my brother-in-law Joey about this. So I already accomplished Stairway to Heaven, which is 8 minutes. He recommended American Pie.
I was gonna say that.
Which is 8 minutes and 24. I got that.
Yeah.
And then after that, Freebird is 9 minutes and 11 seconds.
Freebird's a good one.
So I'm going to work my way up to Freebird eventually. So that's the case with that. Shout out to Corona. We already talked about them a little earlier for hooking us up with the beers for the pregame party for outing 150. It was a long ass day and we went through hundreds of them. We are now 85 and 65 with the group. I would like to say that we'll be 86 and 65 after this Saturday, but who knows? The Orioles are a good team, and the Mets are what they are. Who knows what they will be by tonight?
The Mets are what they are.
Well, I mean, let's be
real. No, it's true.
You know, I don't know what the Mets are going to be tonight.
It's true. It doesn't
we'll
look
find
good.
out by 6 p.m., and that is Eastern time. But Tony says that Pham is as good as gone.
That makes sense.
So we will see what happens. It's crazy. Well, you know what it is too? Let's backtrack here and talk about the Mets and not cold punching for a second. Opening day, Verlander didn't break camp with the team because he was hurt.
Yeah.
I mean, he broke camp. He was going to be on the team, obviously. Right. Quintana didn't start until like last month. So like the guys that had to perform in the beginning of the season, we were hoping Peterson and these guys McGill was going to do something. They didn't. Verlander came in and he got a little bit of a slow start because basically he had, I don't know how many rehab starts he did, but you know, now that he's in the mix, he's
an older
back
guy
in the groove
too,
and he's in it. But the comments from Max Scherzer the day were so crazy to me. We brought it up to DiComo being like, well, you have to talk with the team. Like, what's the direction of the team? If you played better, the direction of the team would have been
brutally honest now that I can be. I am so glad I don't have to pretend to root for Max Scherzer anymore. I never liked I'm sure he's a fine human being.
He's nuts.
But like as a baseball player,
every time there was a big game,
fucking stand him.
There was no big game where he came in and was like, all right, I have confidence. Like last year when they went down to Atlanta, they had to win like one game. They couldn't do it. Went into the postseason, or if you want to call it the postseason, some people think the wild card's not the postseason. They all fucked up.
My dad called it when they signed him. He's like, he's just going to be Tom Glavine 2.0. He's going to come in and just like shit the bed when it counts and leave. And you're going to forget that he was ever on the team except for the fact that he shit the bed.
Well, you might not remember. I agree with you. You might not remember the last during the collapse in 2007. They asked Glavine something about the game. He's like,
I'm not devastated.
Whatever.
It's not devastating. And listen, I'm not. Max Scherzer did have beautiful bright spots as a Met. I'm not going to pretend that's not true.
It's hard to remember them though.
He was also just one of those players when he was an opposing player on the Nationals. I hated so much. Like I can only put him with like the 2007, 2008 Philly players in terms of people that I just fucking couldn't stand. Like I despised him. When we got him, I really wasn't even excited. I had to pretend to be for the show, but I really wasn't.
Well, it's like the reason why. Well, it's different, but Bryce Harper is just kind of infuriating because you just think like, oh, he's just like a jock douche, whatever.
Yeah.
But if he was on your team, like, I'd like him.
Of course. And I tried. Max Scherzer, he loves rescue dogs. Like there's so many things about him that I should love. It's just the irrational phantom part of my brain combined with the fact that he shit the bed when it counted. That I can't. His comments are so ridiculous because it's so true. Tony was just saying, Verlander leaving this team is a sign that they're punting on 2024, which I don't even understand how that's so true when Scherzer and Verlander's been better as of late, but like they haven't been great and they are the reason that we're not good. So why would keeping them mean that we have a chance in 2020? That's what doesn't make sense to me.
I just don't think they have.
Think they're a little washed.
Just like you. Well, they are. But before the season started, you said the same thing. Like, how are we going into this? I've been saying it
since day one.
How are we going into this year putting the entire weight of the team on the backs of two guys that are basically 40 years old?
No doubt Hall of Famers, and I'm not discrediting who they are as players, but the fact of the matter is Father Time is not on their side. And, and that's another thing. Like, this might be a very irrational way of thinking, or maybe it's not. I don't know. But, Verlander saying, or I saw a tweet that said, Verlander's not going to want to leave because he knows that Steve Cohen has the money to get the free agents they need to like be competitive next year. And I'm sorry, but why the fuck does Justin Verlander care about next year when he's Justin fucking Verlander and he knows if he's getting traded, he's going to a contender. He does not know what his body's going to be like next year. If I was an aging player of any kind, I would not want to be here for the future. Fucking send me to who's winning now. If I'm not going to win now with you, why would he want to stay?
And not to mention,
and like we can't take that personally. That's just like he wants to win.
And
why
twice
would he
this year he got caught with the sticky stuff. So like this year has been so fucking crazy. And like we have 2 more months of this. Yeah. Just so you know, it is August 1st.
Oh my God. That's insane.
October 1st is the final game of the season, but we'll see what happens.
I just don't like I was thinking about this a lot. If I was an aging player, or I mean, if you've been paid already, like if you already got your big contract.
Is this how you want to go out?
Yeah, but it's also just like, why would you ever want to sign a multi-deal year anywhere? Be on a team that is a 1-year deal, and if this team is not winning by the deadline, I'm going to go somewhere that is.
I think
why wouldn't you want that?
In their case, myself included, like you never know when your body's going to just like break down.
Exactly.
So why not sign a multi-year deal and get guaranteed money?
I don't know. So even if Justin Verlander got hurt at the end of this year, someone would sign him for next year. When you're Justin Verlander,
not for the same amount of money though. Like
again, I think this is a personal thing, but like for me, like you have that much fucking money already. And if really what you want is to win, if what you want is the most money, I totally get it. By all means, sign your multi-year deal. But if your whole thing is I want to win, why would you ever sign a multi-year deal? 1-year deals, and if you're not winning at the deadline, you're going to go somewhere that is, and you're going to have a shot.
I think it's just they at this point in their careers, they can't bank on their bodies surving. So
but
multi-year
they have
deals,
plenty in the bank. So that's
whatever.
My point.
Some people never have enough.
That's fine. To each
Speaking
their own.
of never having enough, know when to say when, obviously, but I can never have enough Coronas responsibly, of course.
So true. Beth.
Corona is delicious. I can't wait to have some on Friday when I get down to Baltimore to watch the Mets on Friday night. And obviously we will be out there on Saturday as well with the crew. Head on over to enter the Francisco Lindor collection because he hit the last milestone and everything is now activated on the site. So if you don't know what I'm talking about, head on over to any of the 7 Line social media channels, and in our link tree, you'll see a button that brings you to the Corona and Mets collection sweepstakes. You click the little button here that says enter. You scroll down, and on the bottom, you can fill out your information, and they will contact you if you are one of the winners. So shout out to Corona. We appreciate you guys, picking us to help you spread the word on this. We've had fun with it all season long, and unfortunately, this year is what it is, but you guys, commit to this before the year, and so did we. And we love Corona, and we love trying to help you guys out. So who would not want some free Met stuff? I certainly know a lot of fans that would. The top and bottom, you can see here if you're scrolling through, just became activated over the past few days, and they're giving that away for free. So it's all custom artwork and custom exclusive products by NYC-based artist Sen2, the number 2, SEN2. So enter the sweepstakes today. No purchase necessary, and good luck. Thanks to Corona and the Mets. So
wonderful.
We are heading out to Minnesota in September. I'm going solo. I don't doubt you're going. I don't think.
Imagine I just showed up in Minnesota.
Oh, Julie's like, I've been to no Adams this year.
I've been to 2 games at Citi Field this year. Imagine I go to Minnesota.
So I'm going to Minnesota. So not to laugh at it because a lot of fans are still going. It's crazy.
Course.
With the way that the team's playing. I try to write this a lot because and this isn't me like trying to, there's no sales pitch here. If the tickets don't sell, they don't sell. I mean, I'm not on the hook for them. I already passed the number I needed to hit. Still 800 people are going.
Well,
which is awesome.
It's one of those things.
800.
It's one of those things where it's like there are a lot of people out there, and I am one of these people, but I'm not doing a good job, who want to visit every MLB stadium. And it's like, okay, well, I'm never just going to go take a trip to Minnesota. I might as well go when there's a bunch of other Mets fans there, when there's a few other people I know going. Like, that makes sense to me.
That's what I said too. Like, I'm probably never going back.
Outing?
Saturdays. They're always on Saturdays, Julia.
Well, I know it's a Saturday. I meant like what?
It is date? On Saturday, September 9th.
Okay, I have Chris's brother's wedding that day, so that's why it was always off.
You always have something going on. Always an excuse with you. There you go. So the last chance to purchase tickets is tonight at midnight. The reason being is we need time to order the patches, print the shirts, do all the shipping, and I don't want to be against the clock with that. We are nearing 800 tickets. Maybe we'll get a little bit over that by tonight. So this is your absolute last chance. If you're watching this on a replay and it is not midnight yet, definitely select your seats tonight. Well, you don't select your seats, but purchase your tickets tonight. Oh, look at that. Sean just purchased from
nice.
It doesn't say where he's from. It says United States.
Good job, Sean.
So yeah, the game is Mets versus Twins at Target Field, 1:10 p.m. day game. And $58 per ticket. Comes with a ticket in sections 312 to 317. Great view of the ballpark from up there. And a special event patch and a special event t-shirt. ADA seats are available. Let us know after your transaction goes through if you need those, and we will hook you up with some ADA seats. So that's the story for that. We hit on Tick Pick. Thanks to them for all they've done with us this past year.
Tick Pick, we have a new feature that we'd like to pitch you.
Oh yeah, new feature. We need a special landing page.
7-line tab.
The 7-line tab or button or something that's listed underneath there that says they are tickets with the 7-line Army. We'll talk to you about that later. But don't forget, promo code OABT, $10 off any order of over $99 in the app. Shout out to Corona. Always remember to relax responsibly. Hit up the Francisco collection to become eligible to win some free stuff. I think that might be it.
Sure.
We'll see what this team looks like after 6 o'clock tonight. They are playing in Kansas City the next few days and then off to Baltimore. And Baltimore is a great team. So we'll see what happens after that. If this fan that emailed me is watching that says we need to make a You Gotta Believe 2023 campaign, it is not happening.
You don't have to.
But I hope that fan has the last laugh.
Yes. And I hope this is a terrible business decision for you. That would be great for the team.
It would be
if you didn't do this. Yeah.
It did not do this.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think I would look very silly out there holding
You
the
would
sign.
get roasted.
You can do
it. You would get roasted.
You can
by
do
the
it.
internet.
Who's that guy?
It was an Olympic coach. My
dad
dad
like
used to say that to me when I wouldn't eat my vegetables as a child.
You can do it.
Yeah. It was the gymnast that hurt herself before. I think it was the vault
Dominique
that she was about to do,
Mucciano?
or the bars, something. I don't know.
He carried her.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't remember. But she did it.
I think that was bullshit. She probably had like a little hairline because you can't break your leg and then go run on it and do gymnastics.
I don't know.
I think that was all for sure. That was like, yeah, I've had a hairline fracture in my leg too.
Welcome to this week's conspiracy theory.
It's not a conspiracy.
1980s Olympics.
They picked her up. I don't know. They picked her up. They made it very dramatic. She's standing there to get her medal with like her little. It wasn't even a cast. It was like an ace bandage with her little haircut and her.
This poor woman. Well, she's a grown woman now.
Well, yeah, of course. She's probably older than me. And I'm old as fuck. You're talking before you're saying like, oh, these guys, their bodies, this and that. And I'm like, I'm older than these guys.
Yeah, and you're fucking sitting in cold water to get through the day.
By the way, check out my
new
What do you think of this color?
It's a beautiful color.
Really? Kelly hates these things.
I like it.
But they match Amelia's. So we're in the Croc gang.
It matches. It's like it matches.
They're so bright.
The Mets color scheme of like your light orange. It's like light orange, light blue.
This is more like Miami, but
but I like the lights together.
Yeah. Well, the reason I
good,
purchased these on Friday was because Amazon sometimes can do like the overnight guarantee for the next day to get your Crocs in time. So I wanted to get Crocs before the Saturday game, even though these don't match really Mets colors.
That's fine.
I wanted Crocs for the tailgate because it'd be hot as fuck and it was going to rain. So I scheduled the overnight delivery by 11 a.m. I left at 12:15. I checked the tracking and says, sorry, we're going to be late. They showed up and I was already at the parking lot. So no Croc gang for me.
Crocs have come a long way. Crocs used to be like the biggest joke in footwear, and look at you.
Look at the youths.
Overnighting Crocs for a
I'm trying to turn back the clock.
The youth.
I made a tweet the other day that I deleted before I put it up. now that I have like I have the blue check now, unfortunately I had to pay for it. You could tweet and then it says it's like a thing comes up and says like
Are you sure?
Yeah, and then you hit it again to go up right away. Then you have an hour to edit it if you want to edit it. I can't remember who was doing pregame, but it wasn't Zeal or whoever else.
Okay.
But Gelbs was live on Friday night from Citi Field, and they had the DJ playing music in the back, and he said something like "sick beats" or something like that.
Gelbs did?
Yeah. He's like, I don't know if you could hear like the sick beats behind
man
me.
alone.
I wrote the tweet, and then I thought to myself, wait, I'm older than him. So I took it down because I wrote like nothing like Steve Gelbs talking about sick beats, whatever he wrote, and I put the GIF up with the fellow kids. And I'm like, shit, he could totally just reply and be like, aren't you 42? So it is what it is.
Nothing wrong with that. Leave Steve alone.
Are we going to keep calling it? Are you going to call it X?
No, fuck that.
He's like, I saw it on Twitter. I saw a tweet.
Can we talk about how ridiculous the words Twitter and tweet have been added to the dictionary with their own individual meaning? He inherited something that iconic and he made it X and made them reposts, which is just, isn't that like, no, that's Tumblr's reblog, but repost is like, that's so
Did you sign up
generic.
for Threads?
No.
I have it, but it's like, that's already dead.
It was a trap. You sign up, you can't delete it, or else you delete your Instagram account.
I don't care, whatever. It's no big deal to me. But the Threads, I wrote a tweet about this, or wrote an X about this. Did what's going to fade faster? Like what's going to have a shorter shelf life? Wordle or Threads? Because
Wordle was just like a freaking shooting star in the sky.
It was out.
Yeah.
But what does Elon expect people are going to call a tweet?
I don't know.
You know what I mean? Like, oh, I saw on Twitter. I saw this guy tweet. I saw Julia tweet.
Well, like, here's the thing. I will say, like, I've never totally believed all of the times. Like there has literally been like 6 times since Elon has taken over Twitter where people will get on their soapbox and have this emotional thing about like, oh, Twitter's going to close in 12 hours because all the employees are leaving and this was such a great place. I'm like, that's not going to happen.
Well, he basically just proved like he didn't need that much of a staff.
Exactly. And like, again, not that he's doing a good job. I don't think he is. It's a fucking train wreck. But like, I'm not going anywhere else. I'm too fucking old to learn a new. I have a TikTok. When I need to stitch videos together in a certain way, I will use it. But I don't sit and scroll on TikTok. I outlasted that quarantine fad. Like, I'm not getting on a social media website that is not one of the 3 that I'm fluent in already.
Yeah.
So that's it. I'm not going anywhere else. I will call it Twitter. I will tweet my little tweets until the sun explodes or X explodes, whatever happens first. But
I can't wait till I don't want the sun to explode, but I can't wait to really see aliens for real life. Like it's going to happen soon.
They're real. They literally confirmed they were real and nobody cares.
Yeah.
Because we all knew
Shouldn't
already.
that be like a bigger news story?
We all knew. Like, and that's why. It's because we all knew already. It's not a surprise to anyone. It's just, oh, they said it. Great.
I love that you have no place to be because I would just sit here and talk about conspiracy theories, a little girl breaking her leg on the Olympics.
Does anyone? I feel like her name was Olga something. I might have totally made that up, but I think it was. What was her name? I might have completely. I feel like it's Olga. I feel like
it's not Olga.
I feel like I saw a tweet about it.
Hold on.
Nadia or something. Maybe it's
little
Nadia.
girl, broken leg.
No, it's Olympian broken leg. She's not just a little girl. She was a fucking Olympian.
I'm writing Olympics. Carrie Strug.
Oh my god, I was so far off. Who's Nadia?
Olga?
Okay.
Olga and Carrie sound nothing alike.
Nadia? Yes, that's who I'm thinking of.
Hey, shout out to people still watching. Anthony DiComo was on the show a little bit earlier. I do not take gummies regularly. And that's it.
And there's no Olga.
No.
I don't know a single Olga Pataki from Hey Arnold is the only Olga I know. And she was the older sister. She wasn't even the main character.
So before next week, try to watch Pee-wee's Big Adventure. And
try to watch Euphoria.
What is that again? I can't watch like a series. This is a one show. You have to dedicate like an hour and a half of your life.
10 episode season.
What happened
only
to this guy?
2 seasons. I think he overdosed. I'm not sure.
Oh, that's a shame.
Yeah, it's really sad.
All right. So that's it.
Note.
Yeah. Skiddity two top. We will see you guys next Tuesday. Same time, same place. Have fun. I'll have fun in Baltimore. Yeah. She'll be not in Baltimore. And don't forget, Pickles, be there by like 3-ish. Don't be late. Shout out to Tom for putting together the special for us. $4 for any beer that they have, any 16-ounce beer, which is an incredible deal. And that's it. So
really
Carrie Struck.
Seems so fake.
Too bad we already named the show Trade Deadline with Anthony DiComo because it could totally be like hey, we talked to Tony for 20 minutes and the rest
Tony
is just
on
like,
this show was like the Wordle of this show. It was just a moment in time that we forget even happened. But I'm glad he came.
if I could turn back time.
Okay, it's time to go.
Is that Cher? All right. See you guys.
Bye.
All right. So do we want to keep doing the show or are we off? Because I'm still live.
No, I gotta go do laundry. I gotta get out of here.
All right, laundry. All right, bye.